One more game, Ari.
Marathon episode
coming
to an end. Coming to an end with a bang here.
Alabama at Georgia. Sanford Stadium between the hedges Saturday night. Georgia is a 3-point favorite at home. The total is 53.5. Ari, we've talked about this game quite a bit. Are we worried about Alabama conversation that we had after Florida State? I said even after that, like in that moment, I said, I'm not worried about them against Georgia. They'll show up against Georgia. I'm worried about them against Vanderbilt and Missouri. They're going to show up against Georgia.
Yeah.
Alabama, the Alabama we saw against Louisiana Monroe, the Alabama we saw against Wisconsin, we will see them against Georgia. The question is that good enough to beat Georgia, or can Georgia beat that version of Alabama?
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, I'll put my hands up here. I am very unsure of what to make of Alabama so far this year. I think that it's possible that they didn't show up to Tallahassee with the right attitude and they got smacked in the mouth by a really good team. I don't know how much I think that their season is cooked as a result of it. And, it felt more dire, obviously, 3 weeks ago when that happened than it does right now.
Oh, the spread, by the way, since I typed it and we started this, it is now Georgia 3.5. Georgia minus 3.5.
Yeah. So that's a pretty big difference. I think that Ty Simpson's playing with a lot of confidence. I think that Georgia, although they had a open week here, is coming off a dramatic win. I am very much in the category of the SEC is going to have like 4 teams with 3 losses in November, and we're going to have to decipher through that crap again. And I think the way that we get to that point is by Alabama winning this. I feel like I knew I was going to take Alabama plus 3.5. It was opened at 4.5. It moved down to 3. Now it's moving back the other direction. I knew I was going to take it as long as it was not less than a field goal. I think this is going to be a typical Georgia-Alabama SEC dogfight, and I don't think that either team is going to be running away with this one.
Georgia-Alabama games have been weird.
Mm-hmm.
Last year's was weird.
Very weird.
Alabama takes a 28-0 lead. Georgia comes back. Alabama then comes back again, and with the incredible throw to Ryan Williams from Jalen Milroe. What we saw from Gunnar Stockton in Knoxville gives me a lot of confidence in him, but a lot less confidence in Georgia's defense, if that makes sense, because Tennessee's offense, which had not been traditionally successful against Georgia's defense, was very successful. But I was very impressed with Gunnar Stockton. Coming through in crunch time, did not seem fazed by anything that was going on in Knoxville. It was a very tough road environment. Now we find out about Ty Simpson in a tough road environment. And I know what you're going to say, but Andy, he's already lost in a tough road environment. He went to Tallahassee and lost. I didn't really think Ty Simpson was the issue for Alabama in Tallahassee. I thought he played fine, but everything was off that day. We're going to find out about Ty Simpson in this game. We're going to find out how he handles that raucous road environment that Gunnar Stockton handled at Neyland Stadium. Ty Simpson is going to get the same treatment at Sanford Stadium, and he's going to be playing against a very good defense that, while athletic, good, full of NFL players, is not perfect, has flaws, was exposed by Tennessee.
Where were they specifically exposed?
Over the top.
Who's on Alabama's team again?
Ryan Williams.
What's he good at?
Going over the top.
I wonder if that's going to show up at all.
Think it might.
Although, if those warts are exposed and Ryan Williams coming into your building, you probably fixate 2 consecutive weeks straight on making sure he doesn't get behind you. But that might be he was the difference last year. That could be the difference again. I think that there are going to be some explosive plays in this game. I don't think that we're going to be getting any of the vintage 6-3, 9-6.
No. That's not happening here.
Both teams are going to be scoring some points. I again don't think that either team's season comes to an end by losing this game, but Alabama certainly needs this game far more than Georgia.
Yeah, if Alabama takes loss number 2, it does put them really behind the 8 ball with a very difficult schedule left to play. Georgia lost this game last year, still went on to win the SEC. But again, this being at Sanford Stadium, this is the most exciting home schedule Georgia's had in decades. And this is a game that Georgia fans have had circled forever.
Been inside Sanford Stadium, never seen a game there.
Oh, it's a fantastic place to see a game. It's basically, so the lower bowl is dug into the ground. All you see from street level is the upper deck. and it gets so loud because you are down inside. You're basically underground, and it's an awesome atmosphere. It's one of the best atmospheres in college football. I cannot wait for this game because it is going to be, we're going to be at our various spots, and we'll have one TV on this game and one TV on Oregon Penn State, and we're going to get to see two very different.
Which
looks.
one gets the iPad? Which one gets the TV?
I might buy another TV. I might buy another TV.
Do you
and
struggle with that every week? And like, do you? So here's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this is good or bad, but when there are two games on that I'm very much interested in at the same time, I put the iPad in front of me and I give the iPad the volume.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put the other game that I'm more interested in watching, the big TV, but it's not as loud, so that I'm more I feel like that evens it out a little bit.
I actually did that in the hotel the other night.
Yeah.
When I was in a hotel going to cover Auburn, Oklahoma the next day, and it was the Friday night, so I had Tulsa, Oklahoma State on the iPad with the volume up, just like you said, and I had Iowa Rutgers on the TV. Now, these two games very different than Tulsa, Oklahoma State and Iowa Rutgers. I do think maybe I do need to go buy another TV just to give them both.
I have a buddy who
a place of honor.
Has a setup where he has a guest room, like man room, and
Yeah.
it's just no bigger than like a normal bedroom sized. You put a couch against the wall, and he had 4 TVs mounted.
Well, let me ask you this.
And they're all like perfectly measured and stuff, and it's
let me ask you this. And I realize that our Penn State Oregon video is going to be a separate, so people who watch the whole show will have seen both of these, but people who are just watching the Alabama Georgia video are only going to see this video. But I want to ask you this question. Which would you be more scared of as the opposing quarterback? Penn State whiteout or the Georgia home game that they've been the most excited about since, the last 10 years?
When I first went on your podcast 5 years ago at The Athletic, my frame of reference has been, or was at the time, that the Penn State whiteout is the most intimidating, loud, visually beautiful environment in college football. And in the time since, we have gone to some pretty big games. But I have not seen an environment that matches what Penn State brings to the table anywhere.
I think this one comes pretty close.
And I've never been, so
Yeah.
I can't. And I've heard that Death Valley and Tiger Stadium down at LSU is better.
Yeah.
But I also think that there's a certain psychological element to the visually imposing nature of.
I don't know. You got
looks
people in spiked shoulder pads in this one.
Yeah.
It's
No, I'm just saying, from a macro level.
Oh, yeah,
when you were on the field and you're looking
No.
up at it, it's far more.
And the one thing Penn State does is they do have the one end zone that has a student section that is even more intimidating, just because
it looks like there's 30,000 people in it.
But I'm telling you right now, what Ty Simpson's going to walk into at Sanford Stadium.
But there's a combination
is a absolute cacophony.
Yeah,
I just like saying that
and
word.
Also, it's not just what's intimidating from a crowd noise standpoint, visual standpoint. It's also the team you're playing.
Yes.
And I wonder if Georgia is better than Penn State this year. I think there's some question to that. So,
that's probably a question to be settled in the playoff. The question is getting to the playoff, and I don't think Georgia has to win this game to get to the playoff. Like we said last year, they lost to Alabama and Tuscaloosa. They still made the playoff. Let's talk about the Kirby Smart of it all. He's 1-6 against Alabama. Does that bother you at all?
No.
It doesn't bother me either. It's not against Nick Saban this time. As he's 0-1 against Kalen DeBoer, and he spotted Kalen DeBoer a 28-point lead and still almost won the game.
Yeah.
So I'm not really worried about that. I'm not.
Also, half those losses were before Georgia became the final product of what they were under.
Right.
So it's like I've never been a big trends. What happened in 2017 matters now kind of guy.
Yeah.
And playing a top number one. How many of those games was Alabama number one in? Probably more than half of them, right?
Right.
So I don't know how much I take it into account, but I do wonder, if Kalen DeBoer can illustrate the ability to beat Kirby Smart 2 years in a row, that changes the calculus on how maybe Bama fans view him.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely. And look, there is a possibility. I don't think this is going to happen. I think this is going to be a close game no matter what. If Georgia does beat up on Alabama, we'll be having a very different conversation about Kalen DeBoer next week too. So there's a lot of potential possibilities here, but I think the most likely possibility is a very close game that turns on somebody making a mistake or somebody making a huge play, like, for example, the throw Gunnar Stockton made to London Humphrey in Neyland Stadium, or, maybe it's Ty Simpson to Ryan Williams this time. We'll find out. Ari, what is your pick in this game?
Alabama plus 3.5. I'll take the points.
I will take the Bulldogs to cover. I took them against Tennessee, lost by the hook, but my logic stands. I think Georgia's still Georgia, even if they're not the perfect Georgia that they used to be.
You know what the Saturday reminds me of, like a wedding food lineup where it's like a wedding that has really good hors d'oeuvres, where it's like there are times where you're like you're at a wedding and you're all excited about the reception and dancing and getting hammered with your friends and all that stuff, and you go all day, and then by the end of the night, it's possible, like when all things settle, that the hors d'oeuvres were better than the dinner. I don't know.
Dinner's going to be pretty awesome. Dinner's
going to be really, really awesome. But this Saturday has some pretty good hors d'oeuvres. So these games at night might have some fireworks to live up to by the time this whole day is, said and done. So I cannot wait to get to Saturday, and I know you can too. And it's going to be a banger of a day.